Nebraska is known nationally for its hospitality. Evidence is in the fact that Nebraska ranks number one in being and having the biggest refugee population per capita. We have a diverse amount of people in the state of Nebraska. We have Hispanic populations, Asian populations, and African American populations. With this being said, the smallest Asian population here in the state of Nebraska is the Japanese population. This makes it extremely difficult to find adequate information about the Japanese culture in Nebraska. Even so, the Japanese culture remains having a significant influence here in the state. So today I'll be talking about Japanese culture in Nebraska. I'm a nursing student at Clarkson College. I love anime and I love the Japanese culture, which is why I decided to research that today. And today in this presentation, you'll learn about three things. You'll learn about immigration of the Japanese population to Nebraska. You'll learn about important health information about the Japanese population. And you'll learn about modern relationship between the state of Nebraska and the country of Japan. So to begin, we have immigration in Nebraska. So when exactly did the Japanese population immigrate to Nebraska? They began immigrating to Nebraska in the early 1900s. Due to this immigration, in western Nebraska, there was a Japanese social center built in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. This specific center was membership to over 1,000 Japanese members, which was just the beginning of this expanding population here in the state. And although this expansion came with a lot of benefits, unfortunately, there were unfortunate circumstances, beginning with World War II and the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Due to the bombing of Pearl Harbor, unfortunately, a lot of Japanese businesses and centers were vandalized. There were Japanese population and members that were harassed. But thankfully, we've came a long ways from those situations. And due to the immigration and settlement of the Japanese population in Nebraska, it is imperative to understand healthcare information and the values that the Japanese populations hold near and dear to their heart. So to continue, we have healthcare information about the Japanese population. So the Japanese population is known to be conservative. They're known to be hard workers, and they're known to have a passion about health. This is very important information when you're dealing with this specific population, because knowing this makes sure that as a healthcare worker, you're ensuring the best possible outcomes for the members of the Japanese population that you're serving. When we're talking about the Japanese population, worldwide, the Japanese population is known to have the longest lifespan. They're known for their longevity. They're known for having the largest aging population. And even that information is pertinent when you're working with a specific population. So, in order to know how to deal with specific situations, you need to know about the specific and significant growth the Japanese culture and population have had in Nebraska. And within this, the modern relationship that Nebraska and the country of Japan have. So when we're continuing this, what is the relationship between the country of Japan and Nebraska like? So there's a big business influence and there's a big economic influence. When you're talking about business-wise, there's 120 Nebraska companies that are in trade with the country of Japan. These people, they provide car and technology parts, they have healthcare equipment, and they provide the state of Nebraska with educational equipment. And when we're talking about an economic influence, the Japanese country employs over 9,000 Nebraskans. So what does this have to offer to Nebraska, or what does the Japanese population look like in Nebraska? Well, according to the office of Governor Pete Ricketts, in 2016 and 2017, there was a large growth of economic influence from the Japanese culture in Nebraska. So this is important to note because of the growing population of the Japanese here in Nebraska. So to conclude, today I shared information about the Japanese immigration to Nebraska. I shared important healthcare information about the Japanese population, and we learned about the modern relationship between Japan and Nebraska. So next time you're watching anime, next time you're even driving a car or you're at an Asian market, remember that a lot of that influence comes from the Japanese population here in Nebraska. Thank you guys.